Welcome to Pause Button with Storytime Gamer and Bob.
Weekly podcast covering gaming news, reviews, and all things geek.
I'm your host, Storytime Gamer, also known as Eric, and I stream a variety of games on my YouTube channel, StorytimeGamer.com, with a focus of story-driven games, role-playing, and horror games. I also love anything from 80s and 90s pop culture.
And I'm Bob, bringing you games you can chill to. Survival crafting, factory management, and open world RPGs. Anything you can play while listening to a podcast, an audiobook, or watching Netflix.
Send us your thoughts, ideas, and reactions to emails at pausebuttongaming.com. If you haven't already subscribed to the podcast, so you always have the latest episode from when you need to step back from life and press pause.
All right, let's get to the show. We got a lot of news from this past week.
Yes, lots of things happening. Lots of things.
And we're going to start off with a controversial topic, something that you and I do not agree about.
Well, controversial for, I think, the large gaming community, but PlayStation survey asked gamers about NFTs. And do you know what happened?
No, did they publish the results? I didn't see the
Well, and actually, I haven't seen the actual results, but you can tell that people who were asked were kind of they were put out by it, didn't know what to think, thinks it's money grabbing. I think it's going to be a while before NFTs launch on, say, like a PlayStation or Xbox on the console format. It's going to start with mobile games, I think, as we were talking about previously. So it didn't go over well.
It's well, see, you say that, and I feel like there's a vocal... I don't want to say minority or majority because I don't know, but there is definitely a vocal group of gamers that don't want this, and I don't really want it either. I'm not vocal, but there's clearly a lot of people that do because there's a lot of people spending money on these and buying them. So I don't know what to make of that.
Well, here's the thing, and I don't know how you could do it, but the most genius thing that PlayStation could do is figure a way for you to figure out how to display your trophies. Like on some sort of display or somewhere besides your actual profile. Like make an NFT of your gamer tag with all your trophies. And like, here's all my trophies. You know, like a showcase, like some way I can show my trophies. It's an accomplishment, is it not? If there's a way to show that.
It's not an accomplishment if you paid for it.
Well, no, you don't have to pay for it. You just pull it out. But also, think about it. Your PlayStation...
It's just a trophy.
Your PlayStation can do all the actual processing to grind out whatever it needs to do on the blockchain for it to come out.
Oh,
and,
gross.
What? That's gross?
Oh, no. Now my PlayStation's going to be mining Bitcoin or processing blockchain transactions.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Your console will be part of the driving force. It will become a node in the future.
The future, not over my dead body. My PlayStation. Not my PlayStation.
Not your PlayStation. Well, besides NFTs, what else are we talking about? Movies. Couple things about movies. Two things about movies. Pac-Man live action movie.
This is crazy. Crazy.
The only thing I can think about is that movie Pixels. So I think we've already had it. We don't need a live action. There's like a Netflix. Or at least it's on Netflix. It's like there's a kids cartoon show, and I think that's all we need. We don't need a whole Pac-Man movie. I think it's a waste of money. Please don't produce a Pac-Man movie, Hollywood. We don't need that.
They're going to.
No.
They're going to. I don't know. They made Sonic is a beloved and successful character. I want to say there's another one that nobody thought would work that ended up working as a video game character. I don't know. Oh, the Lego movie. That's what,
that's
I think the first time I heard about, but the first time I heard about a Lego movie, I was like, you can't make a movie about Legos. No, I don't need that. It's just Legos. Well, it was great. It was well written, hilarious, had a lot of heart. It was great. So I don't know. I have an open mind.
Yeah, unless it's like, okay, here comes Chris Pratt as the voice of Pac-Man being taken to Pac-Land because of a glitch in the arcade machine he was playing. It's Tron, but Pac-Man.
Right. That's what's interesting about this is like, what is the framework for this movie? Is it going to be like in the 80s where Pac-Man is actually played by a human being? And he's like, I'm Pac-Man. I'm here from, another dimension. Or is it going to be like in Pixels where he looks like Pac-Man? Or is he going to have arms and legs?
Well, I don't know. It says, according to the Hollywood Reporter, but this is from Kotaku, so it's like one news article coming to another news article through our news presentation. The film will be based on a new original story from Chuck Williams. While you might not recognize the name, Williams makes sense for this project, as he previously worked as a producer on Paramount and Sega's Sonic the Hedgehog.
Okay.
As long as he wasn't the guy that said make him look realistic with human teeth. He can't
So he's been working on Sonic and thinking, I can do this with Pac-Man. All right, bro, let's see what you got.
Yeah, we'll try that out. But one good sounding decision from Hollywood in the video game realm is, I would say, the Ghost of Tsushima film adaptation from Sony.
Yeah.
And I think it would be best is if it was in Japanese. And of course, Sony would say they're on board with it. This comes from GamesRadar.com. And I think that's a good idea to have. If whoever makes it needs to be a spiritual successor for Akira Kurosawa films, I think the Jedi Geki films.
Did you finish Ghost of Tsushima?
Oh, yeah. I loved it.
Okay.
Yeah, one more.
What a fantastic game.
Yeah, no, it's what Assassin's Creed Japan is. That's what I call it. It's Assassin's Creed Japan.
Yeah.
You think we would have had Assassin's Creed Japan yet, but we do now.
Yeah, it'll make a great movie. I do think there should be an obligatory, just like there is like a first-person shooter scene in any like Doom or Halo movie, there needs to be a third-person over-the-shoulder fight scene.
Yeah.
To make you feel like you're in the game.
Yeah, they could have a harness rigged up to his shoulder so he's moving in the camera.
Yep.
Is there like one of those 360 balls?
Or he needs to fight a spear guy and a shield guy and a double sword guy at the same time.
Yep, and then we have a whole haiku part where he's saying words that he's magically grabbing from the air. To make
he also has to step down into a spring and show his bare ass.
Oh, yeah.
That has to happen.
Yep, and he gets an upgrade. I think that's the best
right.
thing. Let me do the rest of my news articles. I'll get through them. Let's see, another bit of Hollywood. It's not necessarily a movie, but there was an interesting retelling of God of War 2018 with Felicia Day that was released. Had a big crush on her way back when she was starting off on the interwebs as in her show, and she's kind of like a queen of nerds. But she does a nice retelling of the God of War story. Lots of details left out of it, which is smart, so that way you can actually play it and find out all the nitty gritty. But it was interesting to watch because they had like animated pages, kind of like looks like hand drawn. Really good. Check it out when you get a chance.
Interesting. It's a retelling.
Yeah, of the 2018 God of War. That way you're ready for Ragnarok. It's all it's a promotion.
Like a recap.
Yeah, it's a recap. It's a promotion for Ragnarok. And she does it kind of in a prose, kind of like it's the night before Christmas. So, it's the night before Ragnarok.
I'll watch that. It's only 6 minutes long.
Yeah, it's not bad. And Mimir shows up in it. He's my favorite character, I think. From
I'll watch this for sure.
Yeah, definitely check it out. And then Elden Ring had a big old patch come out. I'm still waiting on to hear about DLC at some point in the future, but it nerfed the Bloodhound Step and Rivers of Blood. So if you're fans of the game and you didn't know about it now you do. I use Bloodhound Step to get around like poison areas, so I didn't have to wad through it or keep using items to negate rot or poison. So it was very useful. And Rivers of Blood is very, very OP as a sword. But I'm glad. I'm kind of nice. It's nice to hear it's been balanced, and there's like lots of other patch notes with it. But that was a big thing. Those two things. Half-Life 2.
How did they?
Oh, go ahead.
Well, hang on. How did they nerf Bloodhound Step? Is it cost more, or does it not go as far, or?
Well, that's a good question.
Do you know what they did?
Hold on. Let me see. I just heard. Oh, nerfed it. Fine. Thanks. Let's see. Much reveled Bloodhound Step in Ash of War, which allows you to dodge attacks at high speeds while becoming invisible, has been tuned down so that the more you use it, the less effective it is. So I guess as your stamina gauge goes down, Bloodhound Step does also go further when you're light on equipment, but it seems that From Software has touched nearly everything to do with low carry loads. Now roll farther when you're not carrying much, for example. Still, the Bloodhound Step nerf is pretty huge news. Yeah, I agree, especially from multiplayer, PvP.
So there's a build called a bonk build.
A bonk build?
Yes. And it says that bonk players should be happy because hammers are stronger now.
Oh.
I've never heard of the bonk build.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten those hammers and like the magic hammer spell, but I never used it because it just seemed meh compared to everything else I had. So it'll be interesting when they can balance out more things. One big thing, Glintstone Pebble in Ash of War was decrease the damage and stagger power, which I remember there was a couple cheats with that when it came to certain boss fights and other characters or in PvP. People would use the Glintstone Pebble and just like knock each other and stagger them, and it was like, what? This stupid little pebble? Well, it looks like they nerfed it. So that's a good thing. Half-Life 2 plus VR equals hell yeah. Apparently, Half-Life 2 will soon be playable on VR, but it's like it's a mod being developed, so it's not sanctioned, but apparently it's given a go-ahead that they can do it. So it'll be interesting. It was really part of let's see, Half-Life 2 VR has been in development for so long that it originally was part of Steam's Greenlight program back in 2017, and indeed has been worked on by some involved in the project since 2013. But, you know, they developed Alex first. So this person made a mod, and it's gotten so much feedback that they're kind of releasing it. So I don't know what this means for Valve and sanctioning it. And I don't think it's a mod, so it's going to be free. So probably buggy as all get out.
People want more Half-Life.
Oh, I agree. There should be Half-Life 3. Let's finish the story. Come on, dude.
Come on, dude.
Let's see. There's a really cool video about how they're building Gotham City for Gotham Knights. I watched it. It was quite interesting. Gave me some vibes of like the backstory you get for like Elden Ring. Like, oh, I didn't know that. There's actually history here. And my question is, if I'm running through this area, am I really going to care that much? You know, with the design, did they actually design it enough that it's going to feel, every little nook and cranny is going to feel different, or is it going to feel like cut and pasted and not really what they're building it up to be? So I don't know. Part of my naysaying is saying that they're trying to hype it up and make it seem better than it is, because that's all I see is all this hype stuff. And you know what happens to hype trains?
Yeah, I tell you what, the world looks beautiful.
I agree.
It's got all that neon. It's at dark. You know. I don't know. I'm excited to try want it to be good,
but at the same time, it makes me very leery when there's so much hype behind it. Like, okay, let's tone it down. Quit showing me everything, because it shows that people aren't, I guess, pre-ordering as much as they thought, or I don't know, trying to stoke some other fears. So, have you seen the thing about the squirrel with the gun?
Oh my God! Yes, I saw the video.
It looks so good because it's in the Unreal Engine 5. I kind of need to get like a Steam device or watch someone else play it, but it looks so much stupid fun.
Yeah, there's that scene where the squirrel points the gun at the guy and he puts his hands up.
Yes. And steals his cell phone.
Yeah.
It's Goat Simulator, but with Unreal 5.
Yeah. He's flying with the Uzi.
Yes.
As it fires, yeah.
And that's what I got for news this week.
It's going to be an exciting future for games.
What do you got?
Not until March, because this week you may have felt a disturbance in the forest, as if thousands of voices cried out and were suddenly silenced when Marvel's Midnight Suns was delayed again. Yeah, it's, we want them to make a good game, but yeah, a lot of people looking forward to that. The thought is March, because that's the end of the developer's fiscal year, and that's what they said they were going to do, delay it to the end of their fiscal year.
Well, see,
so we continue to wait.
Yeah, and just no. I just talked about this last time. I was looking forward to it. Now it's been shambled.
Are you a day one Midnight Suns buyer?
No, I'm not going to be.
Are you? Okay. You're going to wait and see how the reviews come out?
I'm going to see what reviews are. I mean, I'm watching some early playtesters videos of it, and it's interesting. But it's at the same time, it's like, my question is going to be, what else is going to be on the plate then? Because I might wait for it to simmer for a bit and play something else.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to play an XCOM type game. It's going to have to bring something else. I don't know, and maybe it will. It's Marvel characters. I need more than Marvel in the XCOM world, though. You know.
Yeah, because it might be like, oh, this will be fun, but something tells me it could be fun for 2 seconds and then just be like, meh.
Yeah. Speaking of meh, this Forspoken trailer that came out last week? Did you watch it?
Yes.
Yeah. So here's the interesting part. Everyone's trashing on it. Why do you think everyone's trashing on it?
I think it's horrible marketing. Whoever decided that this was a good way to market the video is just so out of touch with the audience. The only thing I could explain it is say like this was actually for the Japanese area, and then they just localized it and didn't even think about their American audience.
What is it about it though that didn't resonate, you think?
Well, it's cringe, as the cool kids say, because it feels like it's like a Valley Girl talking about like, got these powers. Well, okay. And I'm just like, no, what happened to female empowerment here? Or just like something cool fantasy. I know she's got attitude from the trailers we've seen before, but it's just very out of, I get that's a character, but the advertisement doesn't need to be part of the character, you know?
Yeah, on the first trailer that came out for this, that got everybody excited. She sees the dragon. She says, "There's a fucking dragon," right?
Right,
and
right.
She kind of came off. It felt authentic. It felt real. It felt, oh, this is like a real person reacting to this. And that trailer did not feel like a real person reacting. It felt like, I don't know. It didn't even sound like the same voice actress. It felt lighthearted and like fun. Like, oh, is this a fun, happy world that we're in? It felt weird. It didn't feel good.
Yeah, it felt way too weird. I watched that, and then I watched all the parody trailers that came from it, like the Bloodborne, and it opened itself wide open, and it's just not doing well. Especially, it's been delayed so many times. It's been delayed again.
Let me get this straight.
Am I understanding that? I thought it was coming out in October, but I heard it's like March now.
No. It's already been delayed. Yeah, it's already been delayed to next year.
See, I'll pick Marvel Midnight Suns up before I play this, I think. Unfortunately.
Yep. Yeah, I want it to be good. There's parts of it that look like it'll appeal to me, but I'm going to wait and see how it turns out.
Yeah, the magic attacks just look, I don't know, they don't have the oomph to it like other things, it seems. So I don't know. Yeah, I have to watch more gameplay to see what happens.
Maybe they'll learn something from this and quit releasing trailers like that. They need to not do that again.
Exactly. I hope no one ever does that again, ever.
This should interest you. The Alone in the Dark franchise is coming back.
Yes.
With a completely original story from the writer of Soma. And I don't know if you played Soma.
Yes.
Soma's right up your alley. It's a horror kind of story-driven game.
Yeah, I've played Soma.
Did you play it?
Yes, and I enjoyed it. Very creepy, very much like Amnesia, but a little bit, more science fiction twist to it. But this Alone in the Dark looks really cool. Very promising.
Yeah. Did you watch the trailer?
Yes, I did, and I'm excited.
Yeah,
I hope it's everything that it can be. It looks like it's definitely a throwback to the original Alone in the Dark. And hopefully, it hits that. It hits it and becomes really creepy.
Yeah, they've got my attention because this isn't really my type of game. This is more your type of game, but I'll give it a shot.
Give it a shot, or you
can
watch me play it. I want to see if they can
capture the thing about Alone in the Dark, the original. Not only was it kind of new at the time, we didn't have a lot of horror games, but there was this kind of feeling of you didn't have fluid movement. You felt like a real person. Like when you get your shotgun out, it was kind of an ordeal getting to it. And using things was difficult. You felt helpless, it made the monsters even more menacing. And I wonder if they'll recapture that feeling this game.
I don't know. I hope so. It looks promising. So I hope there's more to it.
I was very impressed with the trailer. Yep. I think that's it for the news.
All right.
We covered all?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, what we've been playing this week.
What you been playing?
I tried Power Wash Simulator. Got into the hype train on that. It is very zen. You'd love it.
I saw your stream. Well, I played the first one when you clean the car, and then when I saw that backyard, I was like, no, I don't have 4 hours.
Yeah, it took a while. The car, I did it off recording, and it took, maybe 20, 30 minutes because you have to be like, you have to get every single little itty bitty, spot of dirt off and use a different nozzle. So it's a good training area. And then the backyard took me like 30 minutes for like just the lawnmower, the swing, and the shed. So I was like, oh man. But it's very zen. It's nothing I would actually continue doing a series about, I think, because I don't know how entertaining that is for other people to watch me power wash. But definitely something to kind of just, feel a little relaxed, I guess, kind of mindlessly do something.
Yeah, it's when I first heard about this game, I mean, I do enjoy power washing things in real life, and I thought I would feel that way at the game, and I kind of didn't.
Yeah.
And what's weird is I like chorecore games. I like a game where I just do repetitive stuff. But maybe it's because it's too much like real life. It reminds me of when I used to play long ago when I got into The Sims.
Yeah.
I played The Sims, and it was like, I got into it at first, and then it was like, oh, it's time to get up and go to your job and take out the trash and do all the things you do in real life. And I didn't want to do that.
Right. No, you don't want to do
something fantastical to do.
Yeah, playing this game made me feel guilty about not power washing my house like I should be doing.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, well, I'm not doing it because I'm waiting for the birds to finally go away for a while. That way I'm not, cleaning off their bird poop for them just to poop right back on it. And then I
saw you were streaming Transformers.
Yes. I decided to do a throwback.
Is this your first time to play it?
No, it's been years. I think I played this when it first came out. I think it was 2012 when Transformers Fall of Cybertron came out, the sequel to Transformers War for Cybertron. And this was a great game. Third person Gears of War type shooting. Of course, you could transform into robots, different types of classes like leader class, scout class, warrior class. Really good storyline for fans of Generation 1 Transformers and the original Transformers movie. Optimus Prime is voiced by Peter Cullen. Frank Welker does not do Megatron, but whoever they do have is really good. And it's just fun to play it again. I just want to do something nostalgic and fun. And it's just fun as a Transformers fan in me, and for also just being a fun shooter game. So I've been enjoying that. I'm recording it, posting up videos of it, and I'm close to the end of it now.
I need to watch you play a couple. I think it did pretty well. And I like the Transformers.
Yeah, it's good. Better than Michael Bay stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like in the cartoon, which is what I grew up with, they actually had a reason to transform.
Yes.
Because, it was faster to get somewhere than walking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you have that choice to transform to battle because you have different weapons when you're in vehicle mode, and that's really fun to kind of, and it's very smooth. I think that's what sells it for me.
Yeah,
going back between robot and vehicle is really good.
It was so fun being a kid when we were kids because we had all the toys we played with were cartoons.
Yeah.
And like, so you had the toy
right,
and you'd watch the cartoon like G.I. Joe, Transformers are like that. There were several other franchises that were similar. And
yep.
We had that synergy, Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's definitely it's very nostalgic. It feels like I am playing with my toys as I'm destroying the opposing characters because you play as both Autobots and Decepticons through the story mode. Very, very fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, what have you been playing this past week?
Well, we had our gaming desert conversation last week because I was waiting for 2 games to come out. They both came out at the same time, which kind of sucks because they're both fantastic. And I've been trying to split my time between the 2 of them. The first is Farthest Frontier. It is a I will call it a hardcore survival city building game.
Huh.
And I think hardcore means it's hard. It's very complex. There's a lot of nuance to it, and it's a survival game because your people can die. They can be mauled by bears, but they can also die of disease. They can be killed by raiders. There's a lot of ways for them to die. I'm learning the game, so I put it on all easy mode, crank up all the resources, and I'm just kind of learning it. But it's fun. I mean, you go, these people have basically, they used to live in kind of a medieval, under the rule of a king somewhere, and the king didn't protect them, didn't treat them right, and then so they left. They packed up their stuff, they left, they went to the farthest frontier, they set up their little city center, and then you begin chopping wood, building houses. You have to build farms, of course. You got to build a rat catcher because rats will get into the granary, and so you need a rat catcher. You build soap. This is something I realized I couldn't progress to the next level because too many of my people had, it wasn't dysentery, it was another disease.
Oh no.
And it was like, you should make soap. And if I didn't read the little line under that, I was like, oh, I should be, these poor people are only living in filth and they don't have any soap. So I made up some soap. So that's, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 hours into it, really enjoying it. And while I'm not playing it, I'm studying it. Because this is how I play these games. I don't just discover them. I go and read guides. I want to optimize my experience. So that's Farthest Frontier. But then Eric, I played Cult of the Lamb. Yeah. And I sent you, I think, a screenshot of the opening scene with Cult of the Lamb where the lamb is saved by this dark demonic force, and he says, I'll save you, I'll spare your life if you agree to serve me. And you as the player have two choices, yes and absolutely. Of course I chose absolutely.
Of course.
And this game is like as if Animal Crossing and Hades had a baby.
Yeah.
It is the best of both those games. You've got the roguelike element where you go into this kind of randomly generated area and fight these creatures, and then you go into your little village and you clean up poop, you build structures for your followers, and you basically use them to make yourself more powerful. You get them to worship you. You can hold sermons and conduct rituals, and it's just really neat. The art style is fantastic. These cute little characters just doing these unspeakable things, and really having a blast with it. I bought it on Switch because I'm like, this is a game I'm going to play on, when I'm traveling and on the back porch, and I was enjoying it. And then I brought it upstairs and put it on my big screen. And it didn't feel very good. It felt like kind of mushy, and I don't know if maybe my Pro controller was, I don't know. It didn't feel good, so I bought it again on my PC because I've got a really good gaming PC. I cranked that sucker all the way up, 300 frames a second at 4K, and it felt great. So now I've got 2 games going, and I'm about to start traveling again, so I'll be able to take my Switch on the road. And as soon as I get my Steam Deck, I'll be back on the Steam version, playing it in both places. So, Cult of the Lamb. I hope you get a chance to check it out at some point. Yeah,
I'm curious to play it. I thought about the Switch, but I'm like, oh, what if the graphics are bad? And it kind of sounds like it's missing the mark there as a Switch port. So I don't know. I'll try it maybe on the Xbox or the PlayStation 5.
The graphics were not bad. I didn't. In fact, it felt great. Playing on my back porch was great. It's when I put it on my TV, and the Switch sits behind my TV, so I don't know if it was having trouble talking to the Pro controller, but it just felt didn't feel real responsive.
Yeah.
But I'm also a graphics nerd. I've got this gaming PC, and I want everything to be on full resolution. So
I got you.
Next time we're together, I can show it to you. See what you think about it.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, good news on all fronts there. So, Vesper trailer. How'd you come across that?
I don't know. I think I was just scrolling around on YouTube, and every now and then it's like there'll be a link to a trailer I've never seen before, and this looked sci-fi, and I was like, okay, any sci-fi trailer I will watch. And it looks freaking awesome. I'll read you the description. Have you watched the trailer?
Yeah, I stumbled upon it because I think it was IO9 reported that this was like a crazy new science fiction movie coming out. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I was like, huh. At first I was like, because the little floaty robot seemed a little off, but then I watched more of it. Oh my God, I really want to watch this now.
It looks great.
It looks amazing.
After the collapse of Earth's ecosystem, Vesper, a 13-year-old girl struggling to survive with her paralyzed father, meets a woman with a secret who will force her to use her wits, strengths, and biohacking abilities to fight for the possibility of having a future. There's a line in the trailer where she says, "I have skills." And I was like, oh, I'm here for this.
Right.
This looks great.
No, I'm excited about that. Yeah, it's supposed to be on video on demand. I think next month in September. I'm totally going to, rent it. I guess through like Amazon and watch it at home. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. You were breaking up a little bit.
Sorry, you're breaking up too a little. Don't break up with me.
I'm checking my Wi-Fi. Check my Wi-Fi to see if... Oh, yeah, my son is using up all of the internet.
He's using all the bandwidth.
He's using about half of it. I don't know what he's doing.
All right, so let's talk about our main topic now. Villains. How do we come across this? We were like, I guess we were talking about... We've talked about heroes or female protagonists, and it's like, why don't we talk about villains? And maybe one of the questions that comes to mind is, what makes a great villain? What do you think?
Yeah, because and just for a little bit of context, you and I were kind of talking about, well, could a villain be like the situation that you're up against, or the world that you're fighting against? And of course, it could be, but to me, the great villain is, number one, the charisma of the villain, and then like the level of menace. Okay, so like Vas Montenegro, who's widely regarded as one of the best villains of all time from Far Cry 3.
Mm-hmm.
He was such a great villain because he was crazy.
Yeah.
He was menacing. He was evil. He was crazy. You did not know what he was going to do. He's the best, certainly the best villain of all the Far Cry games. They tried to make a version of him called Pagan Min in Far Cry 4, and Pagan Min wasn't crazy enough.
Yeah.
He just wasn't as unhinged as Voss was. So yeah, I think charisma and then menace. Do they have motivations that make sense to you? Because if they do, they're probably not menacing enough.
Right. You don't want just like, I'm doing this because I'm evil. Mwahaha. That's old school. I think it's with as video games have evolved and become more complex story wise, villains and antagonists have had to become more evolved as well. I think because Bowser, for instance, he's no longer the bad guy, is he?
Is he evolved?
Yeah, like they're
Is he evolved?
Not like a Pokemon, really? But he's there playing Mario Kart. He's there playing soccer. He's doing something bad or sometimes taking the princess, but he joins forces with you in Mario RPG and other things like that.
He's kind of like your jerk friend who's kind of a jerk.
Yeah,
kind of a bully, but he's also kind of okay.
Yeah, it's like a frenemy, but more enemy than friends, it seems. But, it used to be, oh no, let's get Bowser, but it's like, meh. But then you take someone like your Far Cry guys, or even like one of my top picks for a villain. You think I would say Sephiroth, because I've played Final Fantasy. It's actually the villain before Final Fantasy VII, Kefka Palazzo, and I've talked about him before, and I think he's the best Final Fantasy villain that's come out, because he is, think of the Joker but with magic, and he's nuts. He just wants to see the world burn. He wants power. Mm-hmm. And even though he acts like an idiot, he's very calculating. And that's, to me, I think it's quite, you hate him enough for all the crap he does, and he doesn't care. He poisoned an entire city and killed all these people except for like one lone survivor. Who becomes one of your characters in your party, and he's done other atrocities. He destroyed the world actually just to gain power by messing with like these magic statues. So it's like, you utter bastard! I need to kill you. So it gives that driving force. It can't. I think of good villain, you need to have that driving force that you want to destroy them, get rid of them, kill them. It can't be like, oh, let me help save you. Or kind of like be sympathetic. Right. If you're too sympathetic, then it's not really a good villain, I think.
Yeah, it's certainly not as compelling. I mean, I didn't play that game, but Kefka sounds like Heath Ledger's Joker from the standpoint of The Joker was crazy. He had goals, but I think what was scary about him is he had nothing to lose.
No, he didn't.
So you can't negotiate with him, as Michael Caine famously said. You can't reason with him. You don't really know what motivates him. The things he says motivate him, but you don't really think that's what it is. He clearly has a point to make, and he's crazy.
Yeah. And I think you nailed it right there. Charisma. I think that's one of the things that, compared to just being pure quote unquote evil, you have to have that charisma. That gets us enticed to, like, because that charisma, you want to keep talking. You think you could reason, but there is no way to reason. You find out.
Yeah. Now let's look at this from a slightly different angle, because I'm going to take 3 villains and tell you what I think they have in common. So GLaDOS from Portal.
Yes.
Kerrigan from StarCraft.
Okay.
And then both Ellie and Abby from The Last of Us. Okay. These are all villains in a way, but what they have in common is they're not crazy. They don't have these diabolical goals. They are driven by an unstoppable drive, an unstoppable force, something that you can't contend with. GLaDOS is powered by this like company who set up this apparatus to like. And so she's like playing mind games with you, but she's not really the one pulling the strings. There's like this larger thing going on, and you can't stop it.
Right.
Kerrigan, she's taken over by, what is
Zerg.
It's not called the Zerg. She's taken over by the Zerg.
Yeah.
And regardless of how she feels about anything, it's bigger than her. It's going to happen. And Ellie and Abby is where this gets interesting too, because when you're Ellie and Abby's the villain, she's an unstoppable force, but then you trade places and Ellie's coming for you because you killed her dad. And so she's an unstoppable force. And so there's like this scariness to it, because this person they are going to achieve their goal and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. Ellie and Abby from Last of Us Part 2. Yeah, no, it's because playing through the game, not knowing the twist, spoiler alert in case, but also not spoiler alert because it's been out for a while, 2 years now. But you play as you're Ellie, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm gonna get that Abby, and then all of a sudden, what? I have to be Abby now? I didn't want to play anymore. Honestly, I was like, no,
I know,
no, don't make me.
I know.
And that's
but then like after an hour, you're like, that Ellie, I'm gonna kill her.
Right. And you pick 3 villains. Actually, it's interesting that you actually do have some sort of control or flip of the script on them, because Kerrigan you do control as in the Zerg campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Abby you play as her, and then GLaDOS kind of partners with you in Portal 2, even though it's kind of you use her to, or she's like, oh, I'm sorry, and she's the potato.
God, I remember that's one of those gaming moments I remember where I was playing the first Portal, and this robot keeps telling you about this cake that you're going to get, and it's going to be so good. Yes. And you're kind of like, that's weird. That's a weird thing to motivate somebody. And then you find that place in the game where there's like a panel that you kind of slip behind, and you're like, oh, and it dawns on you what is going on.
Right.
Oh, great gaming moment.
And it's like, you could miss it if you're not paying attention. And then the whole joke, the cake is a lie, is one of my favorite things in sayings, which it's funny. You can communicate an entire game experience with that line alone. Just like with another, one of my favorite villains is Andrew Ryan from BioShock. Because he's not the ultimate villain, but he becomes a big villain in many ways. So if you utter to someone, would you kindly, it still gives me chills. But I would know exactly what you're talking about with him saying, would you kindly, and that's the trigger phrase for your character to be brainwashed to do actions against your will, because that's kind of the weird setup for your main character. Would you kindly? And then, of course, his, this other thing is, a man chooses, a slave obeys, is another very, very well-written character. Very charismatic.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it makes me want to play that game again.
Another, Gaunter O'Dim, another, I guess, kind of charismatic yet all-powerful character on our list from Witcher Wild Hunt. Gaunter O'Dim, love him. Really good voice actor. Very interesting character, but it's like, oh shit, don't mess with him.
I'm looking him up because the Mirror or Man of Glass. What was his deal?
He was the main antagonist in the Heart of Stone DLC.
Oh, okay. I didn't finish that. That's why I didn't.
What? Well, then I'm not going to spoil anything. You need to play it.
I don't remember him.
Yeah, he's definitely got a lot of mystery behind him, and he's very intriguing. Very well. It's funny because he's actually the first character Geralt talks to in the tavern in the first level of the game, telling you about where oh gosh, why am I blanking on her name? You're not looking for Ciri yet, but you were looking for black hair. What's her face?
Yennefer.
Yeah, Yennefer. Yennefer Vangerberg. You're looking for Yennefer. And so he's asking around, and he's actually the first person you talk to. And then he shows back up in the game, in the DLC. It's so well done. So if whenever you've got downtime between all your stuff and you'll pop Witcher 3 back in, do the Heart of Stone DLC and you'll see what I'm talking about.
I will do that. Remind me who Micah from Red Dead Redemption 2 was.
He's the guy that he has the long blonde hair and the mustache that connects to his sideburns. He was the one that's pushing Dutch pretty much the entire time. Many people say Dutch Vanderlyn was like the main antagonist because, he'd always be lying and like, I have a plan. But no, Micah is the dude that would be pushing and would, go off the handle, start shooting up everybody. And he was just he was a downright bad bastard. He was an evil little bastard.
Yeah.
And I was so happy when he got his comeuppance at the end finally. But he's,
the character's so good.
There's only so many villains that you just really hate, and he's on that list for me.
Dutch was a great character.
Oh, yeah.
Classic character.
Yeah, no, he was very good. Dutch Vanderlyn. What do you think, Dutch? Where should we go?
Yeah. He's always got a plan until he doesn't.
Exactly, and then he makes up another one.
Always manipulating people.
I did put Pyramid Head, even though he has no charisma. Definitely a very scary figure. I was making a list. Pyramid Head from Silent Hill series and Shao Kahn. They're not really very well in-depth characters, but they're pretty horrendous and scary. You don't want to be down a hallway and meet them, in my opinion. And that raises the question: should we be sympathetic for our villains? Do you think yes or no? It goes back to I guess like Ellie and Abby Kerrigan, sympathetic, or even Joker, for instance, from Arkham City. He gets at one point he's getting sick, and you're going to have to help him out. Should we feel any sympathy, or should we just hate them?
Oh, I mean, sympathy may be warranted, and you may need to feel sympathy for someone that you also have to destroy.
Well, I guess it depends on the story. Like, that makes it more cathartic. Is that the right word? Cathartic?
Yeah.
Makes it more interesting for it to be like, oh my gosh, it's that twist. It's the Darth Vader twist. They're a relation of some sort. And so it's harder to kind of grasp that. Like a good example, maybe a Liquid Snake from Metal Gear Solid. You find out, just spoiler alert, this is like a 20-year-old one now. It's over 20 years old. But Liquid Snake is Solid Snake's twin brother. And he's an evil bastard, so there's no problem with that. And then Ocelot, Revolver Ocelot, kind of takes his mantle, and in some weird, crazy way, I'm not going to explain it, but you chop off Ocelot's arm in the first game. In the second game, he gets it back, but then somehow Liquid Ocelot's controlling his brain. All right, just go with me for a second, okay? So everyone's like, oh gosh,
this all makes sense so far.
Yeah, through nanomachines, all right? So nanomachines and nanotech. Anyway, it comes to the point where you find out that in the fourth game, this is like explaining Tolkien lore, I feel like. So in the fourth game, you find out that Ocelot he's such a patriot for his country, and what he's doing is very, he's playing the role of the villain, and he understands that, and he's doing it so you can bring him down. And all he's doing is, he's trying to bring out all the wrongs and show all the wrongs, and he knows that he has to be taken down. So it's kind of like in the end, you kind of feel sympathetic for him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at Abby in The Last of Us 2. You switch back to Ellie, and immediately, like, you kind of back on her side, and then you get to the end of that last the resort where those cannibals are, and you find her, and she's skinny, she's just destroyed, and you can't help but feel for her, but also like it doesn't change what she did. No. Oh man, what a powerful moment.
Yeah, it's one of the things where it's like, how far will revenge take you? I mean, that's what it is. It's a revenge. It's one of the darkest revenge stories I could think of. And revenge will change you. And there's so many times I yelled at Ellie, like, no, go back, don't do this, go back to your serious girlfriend and child and take care of them. There's been
I was mad.
There's been enough death at this point.
It actually made me, I think I ended that game mad at Ellie. Like, you didn't have to leave. Mad at the writers. Just leave her there at the farmhouse. Don't do that. Like it. You've twisted the knife 18 different ways already. You can twist it one more time by making her leave. Don't do that.
And that's interesting. It's like, I never feel like I'm mad at the writers. They've done a good job when I'm mad at the character. It's like, no, you stupid writers, you were lazy, or you just did this to me. No, you did. You made a character fleshed out for me, and now I'm mad at that character. Good job.
That's what a great writer does.
Yes.
Any other villains we need to talk about here? You've got the Flood on this list, and I added 343 Guilty Spark because I feel like he was the more interesting villain to me, because he kind of seems innocent, and yet he will definitely destroy you if he feels like he needs to.
Yeah, he's kind of I don't know. He's programmed that way though. In all of it though, so it's hard to. You hate him because he's programmed. He's not listening. Yeah. So the Flood is just just like, I guess, a zombie disease in the Halo universe. So
you can't really too.
Well, you got Gravemind, which he kind of helped out Gravemind in the second one. So I can't really. I don't know. It was just one of those villains. I was like, oh yeah, let's not forget about the Flood. It's very memorable, but at the same time, not really. Doesn't follow those qualifications of like charisma, just kind of like a good villain. Yeah. Like Ganon doesn't really have charisma. He's just an evil bastard. You want to kill him. Yeah. Stop Ganon from getting all the power.
A pure video game villain. And he has not evolved.
In Wild Hunt, going back to Witcher 3, very interesting group. You want to go after them because they're being bad bastards. There's no sympathy for them. They're just being selfish, power-hungry bastards. In the Ganon realm, I guess, or Ganon qualification. I did consider the Mass Effect games that you yourself as a villain, because you can go renegade and just kind of do evil, bad things, and decide in the third game, the fate of humanity, to kill everybody, kill all the machines, do nothing, just kill yourself, stuff like that. You do have a choice. So the player is the worst. Villain in the series. Darth Malak from the KOTOR games is one of my favorite Star Wars villains. Design wise and character wise. Excuse me. And then I also put Lady Dimitrescu from the recent Resident Evil Village, because she was a really cool villain, and I wish there was more of her. She didn't last long in the story, unfortunately, but she would have been a great long-term villain, I think.
What's her thing? Like, I heard a lot about her. Like, a lot of people liked her, but I didn't play the game. What's her thing? She's a vampire, right?
Well, yeah. So the best way to explain it is in the world of Resident Evil, there is a version of this, like the T or G virus, or one of the viruses that's been mutated for her and her quote unquote daughters. That basically means that she uses blood. She's like vampiric because she needs blood to keep herself healthy and as a host. Pretty much, so the virus needs blood constantly, and that her children that kind of act like vampires and disappear and fly around are actually just like these, sentient hive minds of flies that take the shape of people. So they look like a person, but it's really a bunch of flies put together, which is really creepy.
But is she like? She just needs blood, though, right? Is it that simple?
Yeah, she just needs blood.
She's not like diabolical or anything.
Yeah, she needs blood, but it kind of like you can see how there could be a vampire legend based around her. And then she does mutate into a giant monster that just wants to obliterate you, and it's very horrifying.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, really cool character, and not too like basic that you've normally encountered in the Resident Evil games. But yeah, I think that covers all the villains that come to my mind.
I think we've said everything that needs to be said about video game villains today.
Yeah, I think so. Charismatic. Not charismatic. They need to have charisma. And then you also need to be able to hate them. I think that's what makes a good villain. Do you agree?
And to fear them. I like fear as an element.
Yeah, fear.
And let's get you on record as your number one favorite villain of all time from video games.
Yeah, it's probably Kefka from Final Fantasy VI.
Okay. And mine is definitely Vaus Montenegro. I mean, there can be no other.
There can be no other. Just like there can only be
rumors.
one.
There's rumors that he may be coming back.
What? I thought I've never played it. Did he die in the first game or that game? That's the fourth one, right?
Sure, you kill him. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he dies at the end of the third one. Surely you kill him. You must kill him. But I think he's in I know he's in a DLC, but I think he's like in your mind or something. But there's
creepy.
There's talk that they might be. Oh, maybe it's his son or something. I don't know.
Ooh.
But he was too good. He was too good not to bring back.
Yeah. I guess it's always scary when it's like, oh, they're such a good villain. We have to figure out how to bring him back.
Yeah.
And that usually goes up in everyone's faces. Well, thanks for listening to Pause Button. Like, subscribe, follow on YouTube, and also on the Apple Podcast.
And don't forget to send us your thoughts, ideas, and reactions to emails at pausebuttongaming.com. Have a great week. Don't forget, when life gets hectic, sometimes you need to hit the pause button.